Think you need a huge yard to create a breathtaking garden? Think again. Even the smallest balcony, the tiniest patch of yard, or the most cramped windowsill can be transformed into a vibrant garden oasis. Watch as we take you through a journey of transformation from neglected spaces to lush, blooming paradises. Be prepared to be amazed as we reveal how ingenious design ideas and clever gardening techniques can make any tiny space make a big impact. Discover how tiny spaces can make a big impact. No matter the size of your outdoor space, there's always room for greenery. Even the tiniest balcony or smallest yard can bloom with life. It all begins with a well-thought-out plan. Start by assessing your tiny garden's sunlight exposure. Full sun, partial shade, or full shade, each condition will dictate the types of plants you can grow. Next, pick plants that not only suit your sunlight conditions, but also complement each other in terms of size, color, and growth habits. Don't forget to consider vertical space. Climbing plants, hanging baskets, or even wall-mounted planters can take your garden to new heights, literally. Now, sketch out your vision or use a garden planning app to help visualize your tiny green oasis. Remember, planning is key to a successful tiny garden. So take your time and let your creativity bloom. Let's explore ingenious ways to maximize beauty and biodiversity. Selecting the right container can make all the difference. The world of containers is as wide and varied as the plants you can grow in them. From classic terracotta pots to upcycled items like old boots, teapots, or even a vintage suitcase, each container adds a unique touch to your tiny garden. Now, when potting your plants, remember to consider their individual needs. Some plants prefer roomy pots, while others thrive in a more snug environment. And don't forget about drainage. Plants dislike having wet feet, so make sure your container has enough holes to let excess water escape. Remember, when it comes to container gardening, it's not just about functionality. Let your creativity loose. Go beyond the traditional and try your hand at upcycling. You'll be surprised how an old hat or a worn-out basket can become a charming home for your plants. Remember, a container is more than just a pot. It's a design element. When space is limited, think vertically. That's the mantra of vertical gardening, a green solution that truly reaches for the sky. Imagine turning a bare wall into a lush tapestry of green. Picture a trellis dripping with vibrant blooms. Envision a hanging basket bursting with color and life. Vertical gardening is all about optimizing your space by growing upwards. It's an innovative way to introduce more plants into your space without eating into your precious square footage. From wall-mounted planters to trellises, from hanging baskets to vertical garden towers, the options are as boundless as your imagination. And the transformations, simply breathtaking. One moment you're staring at a blank wall or an empty corner. The next you're gazing at a verdant paradise, a living artwork. Vertical gardens are not just about aesthetics, though. They can also create microclimates, provide habitats for beneficial insects, and even improve air quality. Vertical gardens, a solution that reaches new heights. Water features can provide a refreshing touch to any garden. From the gentle gurgle of a small tabletop fountain to the soothing sight of a bird bath, these elements infuse your garden with a sense of tranquility and life. Consider a mini waterfall for a touch of grandeur, or a petite pond for a hint of mystery. Regardless of your choice, remember that even the smallest water feature can have a big impact. It's all about finding the right feature that complements your garden's size and style. Invite nature to your doorstep. Selecting the right plants can turn your modest garden into a buzzing haven for bees, a fluttering retreat for butterflies, and a vibrant stopover for birds. Imagine sipping your morning coffee while hummingbirds hover and bees bumble. Consider adding nectar-rich blooms, native shrubs, and even a tiny bird bath. It's not just about creating a beautiful space, but a living, breathing ecosystem. Create a tiny oasis for you and your local wildlife. Seasons change, and so can your garden. As the world around us evolves throughout the year, our tiny gardens should too. Reflect the vibrant colors of spring with an array of blooming flowers, or embrace the warmth of summer with sun-loving plants and tropical accents. When autumn leaves start to fall, incorporate earthy tones and harvest-inspired decorations. And as winter arrives, consider evergreens and frost-resistant plants that can withstand the chill, along with festive decor to brighten those shorter days. Don't be afraid to experiment with decorations. Wind chimes, fairy lights, and garden ornaments can add a touch of personality, reflecting the season and your own unique style. And remember, the beauty of a tiny garden is its flexibility. You can easily switch things up, keeping your garden fresh and engaging. So, as the seasons change, let your garden change with them. Embrace the seasons and keep your garden dynamic. Add a personal touch to your garden with DIY projects. With a sprinkle of creativity and a dash of elbow grease, you can craft unique features that truly make your tiny garden your own. Consider making a bird feeder from recycled materials. Not only does this add a charming element to your garden, but it also invites a symphony of bird songs into your space. Next, think about building a plant stand. This is an excellent way to add depth and display your favorite plants. It's a project that's as practical as it is aesthetically pleasing. Finally, why not create your own decorative markers? They're a fun way to remember what you've planted where, and they lend a touch of whimsy to your garden. Remember, when it comes to DIY projects, the sky's the limit. Be bold, be brave, and let your imagination run wild. Your garden, your rules, unleash your creativity. A beautiful garden needs a little TLC. Just like any living thing, your tiny garden requires a bit of care and attention to flourish. Let's dive into some essential maintenance tips and tricks. First up, watering. It's a balancing act. You don't want to drown your plants, but you also don't want them to dry out. A good rule of thumb is to water only when the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch. Next, pruning. This is not just about keeping your plants neat and tidy. Pruning promotes healthy growth and helps your plants to focus their energy where it's needed most. Finally, pest control. Keep an eye out for any unwelcome visitors. You can tackle most common pests with simple, homemade solutions. Remember, maintenance is a labor of love. With the right care, your tiny garden will thrive. Let's take a look at some amazing transformations. Folks from all walks of life, just like you and me, have turned their tiny spaces into magnificent green retreats. First up, we have a once dreary balcony in the heart of the city. With a sprinkle of creativity, it's now a lush sanctuary, brimming with life. The owner has cleverly used vertical planters to maximize space and a variety of container plants to add depth and texture. The result? A balcony that's not just a garden, but an enchanting escape from the urban hustle. Next, we journey to a small patio that was once a simple concrete slab. Now it's a vibrant habitat, teeming with colorful flowers and buzzing with bees and butterflies. A petite water feature adds a soothing ambiance, while a cleverly designed trellis allows for climbing plants to reach for the sky. Our third story takes us to a humble windowsill. Once barren, it's now home to a thriving herb garden. The owner has utilized a variety of upcycled containers, turning what could have been waste into a source of culinary inspiration. And the best part? Fresh herbs are just an arm's reach away. Then there's a rooftop that was once a forgotten space. Now it's a serene garden oasis with a panoramic city view. The owner has combined container gardening with vertical solutions, creating an urban jungle that's as impressive as it is innovative. Lastly, we have a tiny courtyard that was once a bland, neglected space. It's now a wildlife haven with plants specifically chosen to attract birds and butterflies. A homemade bird feeder adds a charming touch, demonstrating that a personal touch can truly make a garden shine. Each of these stories proves that no space is too small to dream big. With a little imagination, a dash of effort, and a sprinkle of love, any tiny area can be transformed into a breathtaking garden. Remember, it's not about the size of your space, but the abundance of your vision. Your tiny space holds infinite possibilities. Start small, dream big, and watch your garden oasis come to life. Remember, it's not about the size of the space, but the impact you can create. From planning your garden, selecting the right containers, to incorporating vertical solutions and water features, every tiny change makes a difference. Get creative with DIY projects, attract wildlife, and keep your garden fresh with seasonal decor. Your tiny garden holds infinite possibilities. Share your tiny garden journey with us? Subscribe for more inspiration.